Hey there, troopers. This is Rabid here with the gameplay tips for Horde Mode in Update 1.9 for Starship Troopers Extermination. So with Update 1.9, the timers for Horde Mode for both building and combat are kind of dynamic now. They're supposedly different on each planet, different on each map. And what's really throwing people off their, groove is that uh, the build time for each wave is significantly shorter than what it used to be. Sometimes they're 15 seconds, sometimes they're 30, sometimes they're a little bit longer. For combat, sometimes it's a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, sometimes even 5 minutes. Um, But the main thing is the build timers, because there's not a lot of time anymore for you to build, repair, and destroy bug corpses. What I want to try to do here is talk about some building tips, right? So let's just get into it. Alright, so as we all know, or as we should know, is that the thing we need to defend is the mobile HQ. If it gets blown up, you lose. And everyone gets sad. And you can't repair it either. And there's two main styles of building. You can build an outer shell, or you can build an inner shell and then expand outwards and then inwards. Alright, so the first one I'm going to talk about that's pretty common that I see a lot of people do is that they're going to build an outer shell, right? Now, in the first few waves, I highly recommend to not build a bunker because it eats up so much ore. The first wave, you typically have enough for maybe one bunker and maybe a few walls, and then that's it. Now, it always kind of, depends. This isn't a, one size fits all situation, but I just want to show what it typically looks like when people build the outer shell first. So maybe not like that. So sometimes people just spam a bunch of stuff down, not really thinking right. And this is what it typically looks like. It's kind of crazy. It's very chaotic. And it leaves the base very vulnerable to attack. Let's just say, this is what you get in the first wave. Alright. And we get a bunch of bugs and stuff. They're coming in. They die. Everything's kind of plugged up here. Right? Let's just give it out of bugs, okay? Alright, so maybe something like this happens, right? Bugs are dying at the perimeter. Some bugs might have reached the mobile HQ. And then let's just assume now that no one's really destroying the bug corpses, or no one's able to because the build timers are significantly shorter, right? Like I said, sometimes they're 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. It's not a whole lot. By the time you repair one wall, the timer's already done, or getting real close to it, right? So what do people kind of do in this situation? Now, well, they're going to probably do something like this. They're going to just do their best to build around. Something like that, right? So let's just get it built. And sometimes, if people aren't quick enough, they won't be able to complete this large outer shell that they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to concentrate on removing bug corpses, but sometimes that's not the right move because the timer, right, that can be really short. So next best case scenario, this is kind of what you want to do. Remember, you can't build on top of the bug corpses. In this tool, you can, I think, but realistically in the game, you can't. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So maybe... Oh, come on now. I was nowhere near that. There you go. So maybe it's starting to look something like this, right? Okay, let's close off the last one. So maybe the base is starting to look like this, okay? So there are some pros to this, is that if you can complete this outer shell, then you'd be a little bit easier to kind of organize and build inner layers. But because oftentimes people build it way too big, you run out of ore, so you can't even complete the outer shell. Okay, and let's just say that in between the waves that people are trying to, close the gaps off, some more bugs are already in the base, they died, no one's cleaning out the bug corpses, right? Looking like this, maybe. Right, well, now what are people gonna do? They're gonna kind of just maybe do something like this, where they kind of just build around the bug corpses, which is totally understandable. Maybe something like that. So they want to try to start, closing off the base. Maybe there's a gap here where you can build some short walls. That'll help give some extra layer of durability, right? Let's just assume we can't really build on top of this anymore because the bugs are there. So maybe it's looking something like this now. And they can't build up around here anymore because the bugs are in the way. So yeah, let's just assume this is the final product, right? And there's just bugs all around the outer perimeter now. They can't expand any further, okay? So I don't recommend building this particular way because there's nothing really solid to protect the mobile HQ, okay? So is this the best method? No. Can it work? Yes. It'll just be a lot harder to have a base that you can defend, okay? So let's just like reset everything. Let's just do this again. And if anybody's curious about what this tool is called, it is called Ape Map. I will give full credits at the end of the video, and I'll link the website in the video's description, so don't worry about that. I might even throw up a verbal header in the video just to let everyone know. But this was designed by people in the community, for the community, not officially licensed, but it's there for us to use. Okay. But don't worry, I'll talk more about that stuff when I get there. Alright, so let's just again put the mobile HQ somewhere right here. So the other method that I really recommend people start picking up on is to build around the mobile HQ, right? The thing that's supposed to be the most important thing to defend. Right, what I like to do is put a gate so that people come in and out easy. Sometimes, if you're like me, you suffer from this bug where you can't really mantle on top of stuff easily. I don't know why. It's been a bug since early access, and it's never been fixed on my end. So just throwing it out there, you typically want to put a gate here, just so people can, get out of the spawn zone a little bit easier. Okay, so now that you got this inner core, you spent like 850 ore. Wave 1, you're going to have enough to build around the mobile HQ and get some of the outer shell, the first layer of the outer shell built up. So typically what I like to do is something like this. Now you don't have to like copy this exactly or try to emulate it exactly like this, but this is what I typically like to do. It works, so why change it drastically when it's working just fine? So you might be able to complete this. I forget how much ore you get. You're probably not going to get enough to complete this, so maybe it'll start to look something like this. This is, of course, if you have like full control on the base design. Typically what you're going to find is that you're going to find this built up and some walls built out around the edges here. So there's going to be bugs coming in, right? So maybe it looks something like this, right? You got a couple more walls, and then the bugs come in. Where's the bugs? Meow, 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 bugs, oh no! Something like that, right? Maybe. And then let's just still assume that you can't really destroy the corpses in time, right? So what are people gonna do? Something maybe like this. And here we go. So unlike building the outer shell first only, we do know that the bugs are going to be kind of just more concentrated around the center, thus allowing troopers to expand a little bit easier because they're not going to be as spread out as in the last example that we saw, okay, for just building outer shell only. So let's just assume we got something like this, right? So there we go, that's kind of like the base we got, and then of course, bugs will start coming in a little bit more. You can start to close this off a little bit easier as the game progresses. Oops, I built that backwards. Meant to do like that. Something like that. Base breach is still going to happen, but you can still kind of combat that. Not a problem. So you start building up, you get something like this. Sure, it's still not the best, but I feel safer knowing that I have something solid here that can protect the mobile HQ. Let's just say if, this entire sector got destroyed. They're not going to be able to bum rush the mobile HQ. Because if we're looking at this with just the outer shell only method, if this whole side here collapses, that means they're free to attack this. And then it's going to be hard to kind of recover from that. It kind of snowballs. But because we have these walls now in the inner shell method, you're going to be able to kind of ignore these walls. You can let them be unrepaired for a wave or two, thus giving you time to repair these outer walls. And then, maybe an engineer can activate their build ability and finish repairing these. Okay, so hopefully all that makes sense. What I'm trying to say is that it's better to just build an inner core first. But that's it for this one. I know I rambled a little bit, but hopefully that shows what I'm trying to talk about. But here's the credits on who built it. I know Elmat0 and Black Vice. They're pretty knowledgeable people. They're the ones that kind of got this started from the ground up. Other people have contributed over time. I personally don't really know them, but these are the individuals that have contributed. Mr. Doob, G.K. Johnson, Yomatsu, Balaz, Slezletsky, and Somatham. Alright, so if you see them in the game or in the Discord, give them a shout out and let them know that this tool that they're made is really good and useful. Now, it's not complete by any means. Some of them are, they got models, some of them don't, right? But this will still allow you to build something from scratch, alright? And again, I'll link this in the video's description. That's it for this one, folks. I'll stop rambling now, and I'll catch you next time. Hit that like button and subscribe. Bye!